wanted to be a part of Psyche Inspired because art and science are two things that are very close to my heart and that I've loved since I was a very little kid. I think that oftentimes people don't associate art with science and they're thinking more like left brain or right brain um, types of connections to art and science when really it's both use both parts of your brain. So you have to be kind of analytical when you're planning out an art piece. And so you kind of have to use this planning and logistical part of your brain, but you also get to very much use the creative side of your brain. And then I've found as being an astrophysics student that there's a lot of creative thinking processes that happen in the midst of scientific research as well. And being able to combine these two aspects of my life that have been so fundamental for such a long time just felt like a perfect opportunity for me. So I really thought that I would feel at home in this internship, and it's been such a great experience. I hope that people can take away that there is always a place for creativity and for combining your interests because it's not something that anyone's going to prepare you for. The world is very much centered around what will make you money, what will make you successful, and ultimately finding passion in what you do is the key to success in your own life and being able to find a place that's welcoming of all sorts of different like skill sets, careers, majors, plans for life. It's very important to find these communities and to stick fast to them because finding those communities and finding a place where you can exist as your whole self with all of your different interests um, in mind, it's really important for personal growth. And I think that anyone who is willing to explore different sides of themselves creatively, scientifically, or otherwise should have an avenue to do so. And the whole point of this program is to invite people from around the country to contribute their voices and their ideas. So making sure that, you know, in your life, you are making these steps to promote your own voice and promote your own ideas because they have value. And that's really what I want people to get out of my involvement with Psyche Inspired and also just the program as a whole. My biggest takeaway from being a part of this program is that there are a lot of different ways to make art about the same topic or object, like we see with 16 Psyche. And looking around, there's a lot of different ideas for this pretty narrow theme around an asteroid, but there's so many different ways of taking that same theme and getting wildly different results. And even seeing like other oil paintings or other animations besides my own, they're very different, even though they're about relatively like the same thing. And so taking that into kind of a larger context, it's okay to look at your art and say, oh, someone's like already done this because they haven't done it the way that you've done it. And your art is ultimately reflective of you as an artist. And it's up to you to be creative about what you make and to take things the way that you want to take them in your imagination, but to never ever let the fact that someone else has like had a similar idea or done a similar type of project kind of bog you down. So there's always a different route to take, even if you don't think so. I have learned a lot of skills from being a part of Psyche Inspired, including being able to network with adults in and out of my field. So the guest speakers that came to our team meetings every Friday, we would talk to them and ask them questions about their careers and their role in Psyche Inspired or the Psyche mission itself. And this gave me the skill to effectively communicate with adults that may or may not be experts in what I want to do. And this later became useful for a proposed fourth project for a mural in my physics building. And while this didn't end up becoming my fourth project, I'm still going to do it over the summer. And what I learned was by giving my proposal as a very formatted and professional presentation, I was able to use those skills that I had developed from talking to our guest speakers and talking to other adults in the field to kind of sell them on the idea of having a mural in the physics building. And this ultimately led to a successful meeting, and I ended up having the opportunity to make two murals. So it definitely pays off to be able to communicate in any field that you're in and to be able to forge connections both with peers and with adults and experts because you never know when you're going to need help or when you want to submit a proposal to someone and you want them to listen to your idea. So making sure your voice is heard is very important and very useful. So I have a lot of advice to give because I applied multiple times to this program, and I think the number one advice that I would have is to just keep applying to any program that you wish to be in, to any research opportunities, whatever the case is, to just not give up after rejection or failure, because I was not accepted the first time I applied to this program as a freshman, and I was pretty discouraged about that, but ultimately it was my second application that got me in, and I was a much more like refined artist at that point, and I was able to really think about the type of work I would be doing in the internship and spend more time coming up with these ideas that ultimately, I was very happy that I had thought about before because there's a lot of projects, and if you don't think about these things ahead of time, it just tends to sneak up on you. But my main advice is to really just not give up and maintain that your work is creative and original because you are making it, and to not let people tell you what is good art or bad art, even if they reject you from your art internship or whatever it is you're applying to, that is not definitive of your worth as an artist. And it also doesn't make it that you can't apply again and be accepted. So don't think that failure is set in stone or that rejection is set in stone, and just keep working on yourself and your work. And ultimately, it'll be better for you because every failure and every rejection is just an opportunity to learn and work on your own skill sets and grow. This has been an incredible program with incredible people who have allowed me to be both an artist and a scientist in the same room. But I'm hoping that using art as a tool for scientific awareness is our next step in this program because science as a whole is just such a fundamental part of humanity, and it is really important for kids and adults alike to be able to look at scientific progress, scientific research, and say, this is important. This is something that I want to put my time towards and that I want to emphasize in society. And a lot of the time, the way that science is kind of presented in the classroom is not as pretty and well thought out as the projects that we see in Psyche Inspired and in other kind of science and art collaborative internships. And so I think it's really important the work that we're doing to make science more accessible to the greater public and to just show people how beautiful it can be. Because science is all about finding beauty in what's around you, finding the beauty in figuring out the great mysteries that surround us. And the more that people are interested in, the more both artists and scientists will be inspired to take their work to the next level and to make these connections to other fields that might have not been possible without these first steps. So I'm very proud to be part of Psyche Inspired and be part of this process of raising awareness around science.